My first IEM collaboration? Yeah, I wish. Hello and thank you for clicking on this video. I'll be sharing my experience on another customs, and no, as much as I would love to announce that this was my first collaboration IEM, which would have been a dream, but it's just another custom IEM with my own personal design choices. And before I talk about the choices made that led me to this point, I like to first put out a disclaimer. Letshuoer did make these customs for me for a slight discount, which I appreciate. However, this IEM is paid with my own funds, so all thoughts and opinions are my own and will not be influenced by any parties. This is also my first blind buy for customs, so I'm very curious and very nervous at the same time to hear this for the first time and find out if the sound suits my preference. But before we delve in deeper, let's talk about the unboxing experience with Letshuoer's EJ07M. As you saw throughout the intro, it comes with this huge box, and opening the box reveals the IEMs, and it also comes with the manual titled EJ07M album. And why it says mass production version is because the unboxing experience will largely be similar with the universal EJ07M, except for the fact that instead of the universal IEMs, you get your customs in that position. Lifting the manual reveals the accessories provided for this package: 6 pairs of interchangeable silicone ear tips, a box with 3 pairs of foam tips, which has no use at all since you don't need any ear tips for customs, so these are all spares. And it also comes with a twisting metal case that doesn't have any branding at the top of the case or around it, but it places the logo and wording at the bottom of the case, which keeps the case looking sleek and clean. Yes, unfortunately it has that metal twisting sound. Inside the case houses the cable and also a cleaning tool for your IEMs. The cable itself terminates in 4.4mm termination, and it has this copper-like color scheme going around, which looks nice. It's thin and lightweight, it does the job, it stays relatively well behaved when curled, but I wish there was a bit more thickness to it. So for the custom design process with Letshuoer, you'll be given a sheet where you can choose which faceplate and which shell color you'd want on your custom IEMs, which is already a huge step up from the 5 design options for the Unique Melody Mesh Mark II. There's like 15 shell colors to choose from and 30 different faceplates to choose from. The good thing is that unlike some companies who have different fees for different faceplate designs, for Letshuoer, anything on this sheet is the same price. So there will be no difference in cost no matter what design you choose from for your custom IEMs. Again, it has to be from the provided design sheet. Any other design variants from this sheet, you'd have to consult with Letshuoer on whether they can do it and for the price if any. Once you've decided on your design, Letshuoer will give you a form for you to fill out your choices. You can even decide if you want to put your logo. So for the design of my customs, I wanted a contrast between the faceplate and the shells, but still be able to immediately tell which side is right or left. So I went with a red shell with a dark bluish black faceplate and a swap for the left with Letshuoer's and the channel logo in gold on either faceplates, and these were the results. Honestly, these turned out way better than I expected. I was concerned on the change between the colors from the shell to the faceplate, but Letshuoer managed to blend them seamlessly, and the logos are simply popping out of the faceplate against the marbling background of either faceplate. There's also a serial at the side in gold, and the transparent shells revealing the drivers inside is just icing on the cake. The red shell is a lot more transparent, while the blue was a bit more translucent, and of course, design, like audio, is subjective, and I'm sure there will be people who might disagree with this design choice, but that's the beauty of customs, is that you get to decide which design suits you. And for me personally, Letshuoer knocked it out of the park, as these IEMs look gorgeous. As for fit and comfort, these were designed using my STL files, which is through the 3D ear scan process, and if you haven't checked out my Unique Melody Mesh Mark II customs video, that's where I explain this process a little further, link in the description. But for these IEMs, I still had to get them refitted, as the nozzles for both IEMs for the first time were a bit long, so I had to send them in to get them trimmed a little bit, but after that was done, these became very comfortable to wear. For associated fees, as far from my experience, if there is a need for refitting, which I had to do for mine, I only had to pay the shipping to ship the IEMs to Letshuoer. But for the first time refitting and the shipping of the IEMs back to me is covered by Letshuoer. So typically it will cost $160 to convert Universal EJ07M to customs, and the refitting for the first time is free as confirmed by Letshuoer. There are different Universal to custom conversion fees depending on the model, but this is something you have to inquire with Letshuoer. Now, let's explore what the EJ07M sounds like. For bass, bringing up my new scale, if at max is where I'll be having soul-crushing, breathtaking, hard skipping bass pound, then I'd put the EJ07M right in the middle. Because it has some body, there's sufficient slam and impact, the bass note has a bit of texture to it, and not sure if it's attributed by the fit and seal, but it's a great accompaniment to my tracks. However, I wish there was just a little bit more coming in from the sub bass, or just have a touch more mid bass just to add a little bit more meat to the bones. But that's the bass loving soul in me talking, because the EJ07M sounds very balanced across the board, and I can understand why the low frequency is being tuned this way. For mid-range, the mid-range is kept clean due to how the bass is presented, bringing up my scale in relation to vocal presence in relation to the background music. I'd put it towards the right as the vocal stands right in front of the music, but you still hear the background music, however it stays where they are, as accompaniment to the singer rather than share the spotlight. There's also enough space between each instruments and the singer that they don't overwhelm each other, and the other aspects of the frequency helps attribute to this kind of sound presentation as well. For treble, for an IEM that has 4 EST drivers in it, I'm honestly surprised at its treble presentation, as it was kept relatively safe and smooth. Bringing up my scale once again, I'd put it in the middle, leaning towards the left in terms of its sharpness. It's not the most open sounding IEM I've heard at this price point, but it's not necessarily dark or veiled either. Trumpet notes sounded like they had their attack shaved off a little bit, but it still retains some air. Female vocals doesn't sound too thin nor too piercing on certain syllables. I was probably expecting a little bit more, but as mentioned earlier, it's just the right amount of treble for its overall sound. If you're looking for that sizzle, sparkle, or bite, which treble sensitive people may find a little piercing, the EJ07M will keep you safe from that, but treble heads might be left wanting more. For technicalities, the imaging is good. For detail retrieval, I put it right smack in the middle of the scale. There's enough details coming through, it's present within the track, there's enough separation between the sounds which helps in pinpointing its location within the soundstage, but it's just not as sharp or distinct, which could be attributed by the other aspect of the frequency. Soundstage is also right where the overall sound doesn't sound too recessed or close to you, which was surprising considering how deep this IEM goes into my ears. And with how well separated the sounds are, it gives you an illusion of a deeper and wider sense of soundstage. As an overall, the presentation of the EJ07M is quite soft. The best way I can describe listening to the EJ07M is like watching something on an OLED TV versus a QLED TV. The OLED is just pure sharpness, colors are popping, contrast is boosted up to 100, but it's still clear watching the same thing on the QLED TV. But it's just not as sharp as the OLED. The QLED TV is like the EJ07M. You're still getting a lot from your music, but in a smooth and effortless manner. If you're looking for something to kick back and get lost into, the EJ07M can be a great company for that. So versus the Moondrop Variations. So the EJ07M is often compared to the Moondrop Variations due to the fact they're both tri-bit configurations, but the Variations is about $100 cheaper, and the EJ07M has 2 more EST drivers compared to the Variations. So what are the differences? And to put it in a very quick summary, if you're looking for a balanced sounding presentation, just enough bass, with enough details and vocal clarity, but not wanting to cross over to the kilobuck range, the EJ07M is that IEM. If you really like your sub bass at the sacrifice of mid bass, which helps in a touch more details coming through the track, and you like a clean and lean sound, the Variations is the pick. Personally, the Variations sounds a bit too lean for my taste, and the scoop in the mid bass is quite distracting for me. Therefore, I would personally lean towards the EJ07M, but your preferences may vary. For power, using my half-mm EF400 on the 4.4mm termination, I will get to about 8 or 9 o'clock on the dial. So this IEM is relatively easy to power. So to sum it all up, there's only a few IEMs that can pull off a sound presentation that sounds balanced across the board, that despite sounding safe, you're getting a lot from your tracks, and the Letshuoer EJ07M is one of those IEMs for me. It's inoffensive in the treble, it maintains a clean sounding mid-range, and there's enough bass to keep your tracks engaging, and I'm relieved it has a different profile to the other customs that I currently own. And it's one that I reach for when I want to kick back and relax. Now that I have 3 customs in my hand, is there such a thing as the best customs between the 3? That video will be coming out shortly, so don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned for more videos. But until then, once again, I'd like to thank Letshuoer again for their support, and to all of you for watching. Do you own the Universal EJ07M, and what are your experiences like? I'd love to know. Comment below, let me know. And until the next experience, take care and happy listening.